Welcome back to the Artefactors Union. I am your host and foreman, Douglas Scoundrels. Today we are assembling the Marcus core box for the Arcanist and Neverborn faction. A box is a typical core box containing one master, Marcus, the totem, the Jackalope, a henchman, being Myranda, and 3 order initiates, one being this snake man. This is the artwork. On the back, we've got some nice renders. Marcus is like 40% base. The Jackalope is also a lot of base, so it's base inserts. Hooray. Myranda with some kind of claw thing going on, still better than her 2nd edition sculpt, and some very lovely bird person, rhino person, snake person. Okay, let's look at our sprue. Sprue's plural. Miranda's on her own base, interestingly enough. Or sprue, my bad. But Marcus up there, the Jackalope containing a lot more bits than I was expecting. Myranda, roughly the same as what I was expecting. And our initiates. I think these guys are probably going to be the easiest thing to assemble here, but we will see. Let's look at the instructions and then get started on Marcus. Good old Marky Mark. I think we can probably just do this entire thing from the bottom up. So we will combine the 2 pieces of his thick base. And then we will do each of the feet, the left foot, the right foot, and then his legs, the pouch on his thigh, the crotch flap, his torso, either of, let's see, do the right arm, left arm, and the shoulder skull thing, and finish off with his face. Okay, so let's start with these 2 pieces. One half plus the other half of the posing rock. The rock he likes to stand on so he can pose. Let's do the feet. Our left foot is going to go here, and our right foot is going to go here. And those come out to be left foot, right foot. Left foot, oops. Plus our right foot. I am relatively certain they cannot fit into each other's spots, so as long as you dry fit, you won't be able to mix them up. Now let's add his legs. Okay, he's got legs. Kind of weird to put them in because the feet are attached to the rock, so what you want to do is they've got little holes where the tops of the feet meet the legs. You want to stab the tops of the feet into those holes instead of trying to like set them in on the side or whatever, and then just sort of rotate it backwards until you get them to look like this. Okay, let's do his pouch. It's going to go on his hip right there. It's a pouch. Okay, now let's do a crotch flap on the crotch. Crotch flap deployed. Okay, now his torso. He probably does a lot of sit-ups. Okay, his right arm is the one holding onto the skull. I'm gonna go right there. Do you think he talks to this thing? Because I don't really understand why he'd be carrying a skull or holding it open like its mouth is talking, unless he's doing a bit. Okay, the left arm is the one holding the shillelagh staff. And it goes on this stump. You handle the shillelagh that goes underneath the arm, keep that in mind, because otherwise you might be trying to figure out the orientation a little bit. Okay, this notch in his shoulder is where the gator skull, gator head goes, so put that on now. Well, there's a bit of a gap right here, but just pushing down a little extra hard right here on the bit will close that up, and it looks just fine from the front. Alright. Last bit, his lovely Michael B. Jordan face in the face hole. Oh boy, it took me a while to realize that that is a beard, not just an absolutely massive chin. Alright, he's done. Let's put him on a base. Marcus! Goodness. Hardest part was, weirdly enough, the figuring out how the legs attach to the feet that were attached to the base. And that's not really difficult. Pretty easy build. Got no real complaints. Guy takes up a lot of space, doesn't he? Alright, let's move on to the totem. We have one spiky bunny to put together. This time we're going to completely assemble the body and then combine the two pieces of the base and glue the body onto the base. So let's start with the body of the jackalope. And then let's go ahead and start with the face, probably the hardest part. So we got the lower jaw, just go underneath this. The ears and eyes, the antlers, and then the sort of front shoulders, or the thing that these individual legs, front legs, connect to, and then the back legs, and then we're all done with him. Combine these two pieces and glue them on top. Alright, so let's grab this piece, then this piece, then this piece, and these two. Okay, here is our bunny body, and lower jaw going to slot right into this space. Jaw. Make sure you push it as far forward as possible, otherwise it's probably going to get in the way of the sort of arms piece that goes right there. Now let's do eyes and ears on top. It looks so happy. Okay, our antlers are going to slot in right underneath the ears. You can see the hole right there. And on the other side, if my camera will give me a little bit of focus, there we go, and a hole right there. As far as our antlers, this is going to be our right antler, the jackalope's right antler, and the left antler. Was a little off-put by how these are positioned, but it more or less matches the render. And the thing I realized is probably supposed to be a guide is that the ear actually has a bit of antler attached to it, and so you can kind of see there is just the slightest connection point on the actual antler itself that connects to this a little bit here. So I am relatively certain that's the angle I'm supposed to be using, so we'll go ahead and do the left antler if we can focus. Alright, other antler in. Just check and make sure they look symmetrical, and you should be golden. Alright, now let's add this front chest forearms piece. This one specifically, and then we'll add the front legs, and then the back legs. Let me figure out what one is which. So let's change that up and not do the legs till we're done with the rest of the body. It's really hard to tell which side is which, however they have unique connection points to the stump. So we'll do them last, and then assemble the base, and attach them to the base, and if we get that wrong, it'll still be pretty soft, so we can tear them off and swap places. Let's grab the chest. Okay, chest goes in okay. I'm not really able to close the gap on that as much as I want, but it fits. Not going to complain too much. Now let's do the back legs. Back legs and the butt. Okay. Oh, we're fine. So let's cut out the two pieces for the base first, put them together. The back half. What's the front half? Now let me stare at our two connection points for the front arms, and I'll get back to you. So my guess is that this is going to be the jackalope's right leg and their left leg. So we would add the right leg here and the left leg here. As our right leg, I'm not going to worry too much about orientation because we just want to get it done, and the left one so we can slap the body on there. Never pointed this out, I'm sorry. The connection point is going to be these little teeth that stick out awkwardly from the paw. And the left one is in, so now let's glue them to the body, and hopefully we'll be all done. Okay, it took a little bit of holding them in place to get them to stick without falling forward or backwards, but we're good. It looks like the angle roughly matches the render on the back of the box. So we'll say the jackalope's done. Put him on a base. The jackalope is done. The hardest parts for him were the antlers, figuring out the rotation on them and how they're supposed to sit. And honorable mention goes to the front legs, figuring out how they're attached to which one goes where on the stump, and then attaching them to the actual jackalope. Yeah, not terribly easy, but he looks pretty good. Let's move on to the henchman. Myranda is going to be a symbol in, I'm assuming, the order of torso, human leg, animal leg, skirt, weird flat thing on her side that goes like right there, animal arm, human arm, hair, head on body. Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, I'm holding it wrong. Let's grab the body and both of the legs first. Alright, Miranda's tummy. We'll do the left leg, the monster leg, first, because that's got a more solid connection point. So that's going to go right there. And there it is. I am now realizing that the right leg is going to be a lot harder to do unless we put down the skirt first. So we're going to go ahead and grab that piece right there, slap it on her crotch. Okay, that's the majority of the connection point for that right leg now. So we're all good. Let's just check our seam. All fine. Okay, now we can do the right leg. She's got 2 legs. That's the normal number of legs. At least on Earth. Okay. Now we're going to do this sort of flowy cloth bit here. That's just going to go on her right hip. Right there. We'll also connect to her thigh, right there. Okay, there it is. Honestly, wasn't entirely sure how it fit on the model until I glued it on. It's pretty obvious once you try to dry fit it. Okay, let's get started on her arms. The monster arm is her right arm, and the human arm is her left arm. Monster arm. Just fine. Now the human arm. This is one of those ones that slides around a little too much for my liking, but that just means you gotta fiddle with it a bit more than normally before it sets in. You see what I mean? Let me fix that. There we go. It's fine. Now let's combine the 2 halves of the head. Face half. And her hair half. Not entirely sure how the physics of it work, but that's not my job. Let's glue it onto the model now. Call her good. It was more difficult than I thought it was going to be, so I went ahead and split the head apart and actually just glued the face on first. And now we're going to glue the hair on without having to worry about it breaking in half because you're trying to get it over her chest and arm as well as her back. Okay, Miranda's got a full head on her full body. Let's put her on a base. It's Myranda. She's completed. Not the easiest build. The hardest part was definitely getting her head to attach to the body. However, the left arm wasn't terribly easy, just more of a nuisance. And the right arm actually fell off one time. I'm not sure why. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about her. Not impossible. Let's move on to the minions. Okay, our order initiates are oddly numbered. We've got 1 here, and then 2, followed by 3, which also matches our instructions, so we will go ahead and do it in that order. Let's look at those instructions. Okay, for Rhino Guy, grab the torso, slap on the pelvis skirt thing, as well as add this flabby cloth bit, which should go here, the 2 legs, the 2 arms, and then his horn. Alright, so these 2 pieces first. Left arm. Start with his torso and ignore his horrifying mouth. Let's add the pelvis. That went as easy as possible. So now we'll do the sash cloth flabby bit that's attached right in there. It is indeed quite flabby. Okay, let's look at our remaining bits. Left leg, left arm, and nose, mouth, situation. Left leg. Right leg. Right arm. And the schnoz. Okay, he's all done. Let's base him. Our first order initiate is done. We're going to call him Robert. Lots of big chunky pieces, so really the hardest part was the horn mouth thing. Just on the account of its size. Really easy build though, so that's all I gotta say about him. Let's move on to the bird. For our bird lady, we will combine the two halves of the skirt, plug both of the legs in there, add the bird foot to this one leg. Then we will add the torso, plus the front of the torso, both of the arms, attach the extra feathers to each arm, and then top her head with some hair. So we'll combine these two bits first, followed by these two. Back of skirt, plus front of skirt. Okay, now our left leg is the human one, which will go right there. It's nice and snug, and now we do the right leg, the one that's transforming into sort of a bird leg, which will connect right in there. So here's the leg. It's pointed forward considerably more than the left leg. Okay, let's put the chicken foot on it. Okay, I think it's worth pointing this out. If you can see, the end of the foot has two connection points. This one that is further down, and then there's a nice cutout here. So we'll say this is the top part and this is the bottom part. On our little teeny tiny foot, the top part that we mentioned before will go here, and the bottom part will go up here. Okay, bird foot. Well, not nice enough, you can barely see the seam. Okay, let's look at the rest of our bits. Order of assembly. The back half of the torso, the front half of the torso, the left wing, I believe it's this that attaches to the inside of the left wing, the right wing, and the piece that attaches to the inside of the right wing, and then her hair. I'll let you know if these are incorrect. Okay, back half of the torso fully fits on top of the skirt and legs here. Now let's do the front half of the torso. Okay. Pretty good. Let's do the left wing. There's a hole in that shoulder, and there's a tooth on the wing that'll just go right in, make it sit pretty solidly. Okay, the extra bit of feathers I noted before is going to go right here. Here's the connection point. Okay. Left wing is done. Let's do the right wing now. One I had a hard time actually slotting in the hole in the shoulder. I really just need to look at that connection point and the hole and align them up because they're a unique shape, and you'll eventually get it. That's what it looks like from the back. Now let's add the extra feathers right there. Okay, last bit, the extra bit of hair. You can see the connection point right there. Okay, bangs, all done. I may have cut off the connection point because there was a hole in there that's... I couldn't find a tooth on the hair. However, there is a good amount of it that is a connection point, so it was still fairly easy to glue. Let's put her on a base. Order initiate number 2 is done. We're going to call her Bindi. The hardest part for her was figuring out how to slot the wings into the shoulders and the chicken foot and the bangs. Kind of a difficult build. I'd still say she's easier than Myranda, but make sure you give it time to cure before you move on to the bangs or the feathers that are attached to the wings or the chicken foot. Just let it cure. Let's move on. Our last initiate is the easiest one, the snake guy. We'll grab the body, add the extra bit of snake tail, then the crotch flap, the right arm, the left arm, and the head. Easy peasy, let's go. Okay, snake body. The snake tail will come around, fold around to his right side, and actually attach to the body. Could be a nice base for him to sit on. Okay, tail on. Looks fine. Probably could wiggle it a little bit, but I'll do that off camera. Now the crotch flap. It's flappy. The right arm, which is the closed fist. Okay. Now the left arm, which is the unclosed fist. That took a little while to figure out and ended up having to keep rotating it counterclockwise until the gap was more or less filled out, but the instructions got it wrong. This is how his arms are supposed to sit, matched to the render. Okay, let's put a head on him. Okay. There we go. He's all done. Put him on a base. Our third order initiate is done. We're going to name this one Steve. Hardest part was figuring out the rotation on the left arm. Again, don't look at the instructions, look at the render. Everything else was super easy, and it didn't have a whole ton of bits to it. Let's look at the whole box now. The Marcus core box is done. 6 models of, let's say, middling difficulty overall. A lot better than a second edition one, though. I did not have fun with a second edition Marcus box. Please don't make me assemble that. Anyways, yeah, difficulty lied in really the Jackalope, Myranda, and the second order initiate. Everyone else was fairly simple, so keep an eye out for those models. They're really pretty, though. Overall, really gorgeous box, so best of luck painting them, but I have been your foreman, Douglas Scoundrels, helping you build a better Malifaux. Have a good night.